Hi, everybody. This is Ginger Hendry with the Psychic Wives.
And I'm Jerry Carabin with the Psychic Wives.
We are so excited today because we have a guest who's going to be so helpful, already has been helpful to me because I happen to know. We have Kim Newby from Smart Spaces by KN, and we'll have all our information up on the website. But what we're going to be talking about today is helping get clutter under control and talking about how energetically that's really dragging people down,
I'm glad you,
disorganized, all kinds of things that Kim's going to talk about. So, Kim, if you want to just say hello and tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Yep, my name's Kim. I created my business about 3 years ago, just out of a passion. Always loved organizing. Never really thought I could have a business out of it. And then once I started, I really got to know that it is a huge need and that some people totally struggle. It's something that's always just come natural to me. Probably annoyed my sister sharing a room growing up because she's kind of messy and I'm so clean, and my husband, I got to get him in control too. But it just started out of pure passion, and I love helping people, and I get addicted to that feeling, like you said, the energy, the feel. It's like the endorphins of helping people clean out their spaces and creating useful and beautiful and spaces.
I'm glad you both said the energy word, because I'm thinking some people might be on here and be like, what the heck, the Psychic Wives, why are they talking about like clutter? But yes, it does have an effect on our energy, but also, it just, and because we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast, it looks like I've been gathering things, and where my office was quite neat before, now I'm starting to feel a little like almost like it's invading my space.
Right.
And that has an effect on any work you do, regardless of, whether you're doing the intuitive work or whatever. So I said this right before we started the recording. I'm so excited about this. I can't believe it.
So, Kim, in full disclosure, I've known Kim really forever and ever. And Kim has been to my house to help me with a huge problem. I will not say we're not hoarders or anything, but we downsized from a very big house to a condo. And so we were able to shed a lot of things, but not everything. And so I had a storage room downstairs that literally could not walk around. And I kept thinking, I got to get rid of this. I got to get rid of this, but I'm not good at it. And honestly, if anybody's listening that finds himself in the same boat, it stresses me out. It is so stressful for me to try to get organized when it's to that point. And Kim came over, and honestly, in a morning, my whole room was transformed, and I could not tell you how much better I felt. And I would never have been able to do that. That stuff would still be downstairs if you hadn't come over. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the energy, about the disorganizing feeling and whatnot that people have.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I go over to do a consult or before I start, people always have that. It's almost like a suffocating feeling because you can't think straight because there's so much around you, and it almost encloses in on you.
And then every time you go in to do it, you're like, I can't.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I totally understand being overwhelmed, especially when it gets to a point where it's like you don't even know where to start. Because I'll be honest, sometimes I go in and I'm like, I don't even know where to start. But you just start. And then as soon as you just start with one little thing, and as soon as you get one little thing, then you're like, okay, I know, you start getting in the flow of it and you can do it. But I think that's part of the reason, like I said, is why I got so, I have such a passion for it and love helping people because of the way they feel after. Not necessarily like, oh, here's your beautiful space that's not cluttered. It's kind of like working out, with the endorphins and the serotonin levels. You get like addicted to that feeling of clearing stuff out. Even I notice sometimes if I'm stressed out about something, or when the kids' school was canceled for the rest of the school year in March, the first thing I thought was, I want to go and throw everything in my closet out. It feels good to let things go. And it gives you more room to be at peace. No one wants to sit or eat in a crowded, cluttered area.
So let's talk about letting things go, because it makes you feel really good to let things go. Let's talk about, we talked just briefly before about some people's problem. I'm waving my hand.
Remember, we're on YouTube now, so they can see that.
Okay.
Remember?
Well, maybe not even well, sometimes emotionally attached, right? So it is difficult to get rid of. But then the worry of like, what if I need it? What if I'm going to use it? What if somebody else? I mean, I go in these what ifs and I really have a hard time letting things go.
Yeah. And a trick that I do, because sometimes I will say, what if I need this? But then I say, when's the last time you used it? If
Yes.
you do need it, can you afford to buy another one? And most of the times it's something that costs $6, or
Yeah.
even $20, and you'll be amazed that you'll never, you don't use
Yeah.
it. So I kind of walk myself through that and my clients through that. When's the last time you used it? Could you purchase another one? And let's not forget, a lot of times people have stuff that's so old that there's something new and better that would be helpful if
Yes.
you do need it in the future,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we just came across that the other day when we were cleaning up. We had printers downstairs, and I'm like, does this even work? Like, does this
Right.
printer that we probably spent, a chunk of change for, 15 years ago, you can probably get for $100 now and just, like it's wireless or something like that.
Right. And it's small.
And it's small.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. There's
yeah,
always something newer, better, and sometimes even cheaper
yeah,
than
Right.
what,
yeah.
out there.
So let me ask you a question. I know you do this, you go into somebody's house in the time of where we are now. Is it something that can be done over Zoom?
Well,
Do you ever do that?
I'm actually just did a beta on that. So it's funny you ask. I did a
That's awesome.
contest where I picked 3 people to do a virtual organization session. And instead of Zoom, which I know other organizers do, I decided to have them send pictures and videos. So then I could sit and send them specific products. If it was a playroom, that was the first one I did.
Oh,
So I
cool.
sent them. They sent me their measurements. I asked them questions what they want the space for. And then I can send them links to exactly different solutions at different price
Yeah,
points to things that I think would help them. And I can send them customized tips so they have everything in writing.
Wow.
that
I
is so
love
cool.
that idea.
That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
I mean, a lot of these organizers I've noticed charge. I've never actually been in a Zoom organizing session, but I just wonder how much can you really get done through a 45-minute session where I will sit down for a few hours and do the research,
Yeah,
and send them a list of ideas that they can do and then list of products that they can use.
Well, and for you, it increases the market, right? Because
Right.
you can do anyone anywhere
yeah,
Right.
doing it that way.
Right. And some people just need fresh ideas.
Yeah.
I've come to
exactly.
notice too. They don't need me to come in and do it. They have the motivation to do it and they will do it. They just don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Well, let's talk just briefly. We were talking about this before we hopped on, and I was telling Kim that, I've had a lot of businesses over the last 20 years. And so I have lots of business cards. And so part of my challenge is like, I hate to get rid of this company and I hate to get rid of that. I love that logo and whatever. And Kim's tip was that maybe I could put them into a frame and keep
Mhm.
one of all. Then I could see it because now I'm struggling with, I've got small boxes of
like
things.
all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
I could get rid of it and I could still see it, and so I'm still emotionally connected to it, right? But I don't have the clutter, which is
Right.
that's genius.
Right.
yeah,
And then you can enjoy it too. So it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sitting in a box and you find it every couple of years deciding what to do with it.
exactly. That's brilliant because you find it every couple of years and you're like, oh, look
yes.
at this. And then you put the box back in the drawer. And then
Right.
you
That's
don't see
right.
it for like another 6 years. So Kim, we were talking about this too. Again, this weekend we went downstairs and we were rearranging and throwing stuff away. And I was like, oh my God, I so have to do this in my office. And then I was I was like, late Sunday, I was like, I should go, not late, but late in the afternoon Sunday, I was like, I should go up there. I should do, and then I realized, oh my God, we're talking to Kim on Tuesday. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything yet. So can you give us tips on how you start? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep, definitely. I always start with pulling everything out. So pulling
okay,
everything out and categorizing it. Keep, donate, or give away, trash, obviously, or if
yeah,
you have things that like belong to other people, because a lot of people do find things that, they
oh,
borrowed years ago.
yeah,
So I would just break everything down into categories, and then all the keep, I would even categorize that. Things that stay in your top, that you need easy access to, that would stay in your top drawer. Um, Things that you want to hang, or and you'll probably find things that don't even go into your office, that don't belong in your
exactly,
office. So you can even create a pile for that, of things that need to just stay in the house but get out of my office. So I think if you just start by pulling everything out and putting it into piles and categorizing them. It's an easy way to start, you know, it
Yeah.
gets you motivated to start.
Can you speak a little bit to that, those, I guess you kind of said it, but we need to go back there, I think, of that, oh, I have emotional attachment to this, you know, because that's kind of the hard part. Like, oh gosh, you know, I have a stack of cards sitting over there that people gave me when I was sick earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like 3 inches of, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and it's really, because it's like, that was so kind and so amazing that all these people, and it's almost like, well, if I recycle these, I don't know, you know, somewhere in your head,
Yeah.
like I'm being rude to
Right,
them
right.
or something.
You have that guilty feeling of letting it
Yes.
go. So, I mean, you throw them out or you recycle them, no one's gonna know and no one has to know. But if it's something you genuinely think you're gonna look at again, you know, maybe create a book or
Book or something.
or
Yeah.
take pictures and save them in an album.
Yeah.
Um,
That is weird
I
though, because I feel guilty. I'm like, oh God, you know, these people went out of their way to, you know?
Right. And I totally get it because even with Christmas cards, I enjoy them so much and I hang them up around my house as I
Yes.
receive them every year. But when the season's over, I do get, unless they're close family and friends,
Yeah.
I will get rid of them because
Yeah.
they're just gonna start creating clutter.
They're gonna start creating clutter.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Or like I said with Ginger's card, try to find a way to like frame them
Yeah.
and you know so you can actually enjoy it every day. Or one of the things that I've used every day is my grandmother's teacup, where normally people might put it in a bin away, but I use it every day and I keep it next to my coffee maker and I put little sugar packets in it.
Okay.
You know, so I
Yeah.
think if there's things that are sentimental to you, try to incorporate them into every day so you can actually enjoy them. And, you know, every time I look at that, I think of my
Yeah.
Nana.
So repurposing something
Repurpose, exactly.
rather than it sitting there. Another question I had was about, because we kind of said this before, when I was downstairs, I walk and I'm like overwhelmed. And so you just have to just kind of start. Is there a point, like, is there a time frame you should give yourself, or is there, because, you know, you get to a point sometimes where you're like, I can't.
Yeah.
And then it's half done and there's crap everywhere. And do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just, once I get going, I don't like to stop, but I have a lot of clients who sometimes want to help me for like 2 hours and they'll be like, I need to take a break, which is totally fine. So I think it's just knowing yourself
okay.
and knowing what you can handle in that day, because it can be very overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
So
And it's funny what you said before, Ginger. You said, like, it's not like we're hoarders, but I don't know if anybody who's not seen that show at least once, but you can, you know, we're not hoarders. Like, you can see people, they're like, wait, no, don't throw that out. Wait, no, don't throw that, you know.
right.
And I'm definitely not like that. I think I'm almost to the opposite, where once it's in my head, I'm just like, chuck, you know.
Right.
But I don't know if that's good either. You know?
Well, Kim is very kind to work with because I was really stressed. And I will tell you, when I was downsizing my house, and this is before Kim started this business, the downstairs in my house, I had a lot of stuff. I actually had, and we were married, I don't know, almost 30 years by the time we sold the house. I had shower gifts that I never used that were downstairs.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. I had lots of stuff. And so two of my sisters, your mother, Kim, came over too, but two of my sisters came over and they were brutal. They would hold something up and I would think, I wouldn't even have time to say no. And one of my sisters would say, yeah, you're not going to use that. Boom, in the barrel. And it was like really stressed me out. She did get rid of a lot of stuff, but it wasn't, I didn't have.
Oh, Ginger, I don't know if you can hear us, but you froze and your audio went away. So we'll keep talking. But I get that. Like, sometimes you have to be brutal. I was kind of brutal this weekend but it was more my husband's space that I was like, no. And he was pretty good about it. But it was funny because it came up, it was like my high school diploma, you know, the thing that your high school diploma comes in, that you're like, whatever. And the high school diploma wasn't even in there. It was just the little.
Right. It was
like,
just the case.
The case kind of thing. And I'm like, high school. I mean,
right.
You know, and I guess those are some memory things or whatever, but, you know,
And things like that, I would probably, kind of similar to what I do for my kids, is I just have a box and I just throw it into, like, so if you just commit to one box, one clear bin, of memories from your past that you want to save on to.
Yeah. And I don't think it was like a memory. I think it's more like in situations like that, that it's like, you just put it somewhere. And,
Right.
I don't even live in the state that I graduated from. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
So it's been,
Yeah.
and I'm 56. So I mean,
Right.
it's been following me for
Just the case too, right?
exactly. Just, I don't even know where the diploma is. I have no idea. And my husband's like, maybe we framed it. And I'm like, really? Like, we're looking
Yeah.
around, we don't even know where it is,
Right.
But yeah, those are the things that I think kind of come up a little bit, that you're like, yeah, Ginger says she's trying to get herself back in, but that I almost get a little, for lack of a better word, like aggravated with myself, or
Yeah.
angry with myself for letting it get to this space. And again, I'm not a hoarder, but I can look around me and I can feel like things are encroaching. Like, when did that get here? And when did that get here? Because I'll be
Right.
walking around the other house, the rest of the house, and I'll say something like, oh, that should be my office. But my office is small, so,
Right.
you know,
I know. I think it's you really have to sit and choose and decide, is this going to add value to my day? Am I going to really use this?
right.
And if not, do I want to donate it? Do I want to get rid of it? A lot of times what I do too, just to try to keep my house neat and tidy, is address things as they come in. So as soon as, you know what I mean? So as soon as
Oh,
you
that's
look
great.
your
Yeah, that's great.
diploma, your high school diploma, and you just had the case, I don't know, the first time you saw maybe just the case, or
Yeah,
even
the
like
first question.
mail that comes in, address it immediately, because it
Yeah.
will pile up if you don't.
We'd like to introduce our psychic wife, Ginger.
I lost my internet connection, so I'm on my phone now.
Yeah, your audio or your video froze, but you were still there, and then all of a sudden that froze too.
Yeah, and now I can't connect to anything other than from my phone. So I'm
But
back.
we see
Sorry.
you, and you're here. We're kind of talking about that. I love what you said, Kim, about do I need this? Is it going to bring value? Is it going to
Right.
bring? Do you run into clients that have a really hard time with that?
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it's hard because they think an organizer, oh, you should fit all this stuff in this space, but sometimes you just don't have the space.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a magician, I can't create more space. So in that case, I just do the best I can. It's hard. It's a sensitive subject because it's very personal, and that's why I love it, but that's why it's challenging.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you said that, because we're talking about, cleaning some crap out, but it is very personal. Like Ginger said, business cards from, 20 years ago or something.
Right.
And I get it. Again, brilliant. Put them in a frame. Oh my God, or take a picture of them on your phone, or, so they come up on your memories or something like that. You can tell I'm like looking around, like that can go, that can go, that can, because and this is not obviously, this question I'm going to ask has no reflection on you, but I'm just really curious. Have you ever gotten to a point where like you're with a client and the client's like, I can't, and you have to go?
Yeah,
like it doesn't work. Yeah.
Yes. This summer it was, this woman, it was beyond just letting stuff go. There were some hoarder issues, like psychological issues. And, that does happen. I honestly try to stay away from those type of clients. Yes. So if I take you on, you're not a hoarder. Because I'm not a psychologist, and there's deeper issues there, and you need to deal with the deeper issues before I help you get things in order.
Right.
Right.
Oh man, that is super cool. I love the that it is this energetic kind of thing, and that I know I'm going to feel better on the other side of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what kind of people, not what kind of people, so like Ginger, what made you call, Kim?
I was complaining to her mother probably for the bazillionth time about all the stuff I had. And Kim had started this business, and she said, we can come over, and her mother came as well. And I wouldn't, like I said, would not have been able to do it. I wouldn't have been able to do it because I'm not capable of it. It overwhelms me. And it depends on, like I was thinking as you guys were just talking, like I'm in a loft now. So I went from I don't know what I had, like 12 by 12 office. And in the days where we needed paper, right? I had paper contracts, paper product,
Yes, yeah,
everything was paper oriented. Now I don't need pretty much any paper. And I have big office furniture. I moved from a big space into a loft and all my furniture is here.
yeah,
So I'm having difficulty. You saw me, Jerry. I mean, pretty much move to my sunroom when I can because
yes.
the energy is better for me. So
Mm-hmm.
not only do I need to get rid of the stuff, the paper stuff, but my furniture is too big for the space. So Kim, you must run into that too.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's funny. The first virtual, the client I had, I did suggest that they either move, they had large chairs in a small area that they were trying to store kids' toys. And I was like, at some point you have to decide, do you want this to be kids' storage or a sitting area? I mean, you can do both, but that's what's making you have that cluttered, like enclosed feeling.
Right.
So it's really just, accepting the space for what it is and what you can
Right.
fit in there,
Yeah.
Well, I know when we moved in here, we had the movers move the stuff up to the loft. And I remember my husband, and I didn't think he was really joking, but he said, I hope you like the furniture up there because it's never coming down.
Right.
And so I just said to him this past week, because we've been here 6 years, are you serious about that? Because I'm having trouble in the space. It's physically affecting me. And he said, no, we'll figure it out. So I probably will get rid of all of what I have and put more functional size spaced kind of thing as I'm getting rid of it. But even that stresses me out. The thought of having to do all of that.
Right, right.
Talking about that stress, Ginger, I remember you showed me the pictures of the downstairs back when
Yeah.
Kim was doing this however long ago. Wasn't it was it last year? Or was it early this
It
year? I
was
don't
probably
remember.
3 years ago
Oh,
anyway,
was that
right?
long ago?
I think so.
Wow.
Wasn't it, Kim?
Yeah, maybe it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I
time
remember you
goes
took
by
pictures
fast.
of it before, and it was like you had show me that or whatever. So we keep talking about that stress. How did you feel when it was done?
I can't even describe it. It was like, we talk about energy, but it was like everything got lifted off of me.
Yeah.
I could physically feel, and those people that are more sensitive than others to energy probably is worse, but I could physically feel like the clutter was claustrophobic. I think you used that word.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And once
Mm-hmm.
it was gone, I can move in that room. I can move around in that room. And there's still things I could get rid of that I didn't then, but now I feel more in control. It's easier for me to kind of see and whatnot.
It's interesting that, again, that energy thing, because like I understand what you're saying, like, it, and I know this is so weird, but like I'm looking, we bought an iPod or HomePod mini thing, whatever, the Apple, they have a HomePod, but there's a little mini one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got it in December and the box is sitting over there. The box that like it goes in. Why do I have that box sitting?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like sitting over there. But the thing that you're talking about is like I'm starting to like it almost feels mentally like you're breathing shallowly.
Yes.
Because things are
Yes.
approaching you. And then what you just talked about, it's like, space. Even though it's this much space here and this much space here and this much space here, like it's tiny, but when you look at the whole thing, it's like, organization, space, whatever.
And even just, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you go, Kim, go.
I was going to say, I've read a study too about even, they did a study with, took, I don't know, 6 women and 3, they had eat in a kitchen that was clean and not cluttered. And 3 women ate in a kitchen that was very cluttered. And they had all the same food laying out on the table. And the woman who ate in the cluttered kitchen ate more. Because it's kind of, you're eating your feelings, so to speak, because you're surrounded by like clutter.
That makes sense. Oh my
and,
God.
even when I'm with my kids and they're asking me for a million things, I find myself shoving food in my face. And I think that's probably the same feeling. You have that anxiety feeling of, I can't sit and enjoy my meal, my space, So, I mean, it even goes to that extent of how.
That's crazy, but it makes total sense.
Yeah, it does.
It makes total sense. So question, like, okay, so you go into somebody's house, you go into Ginger's house, you go into my house, whatever, and you know, help with a room. And then of course we're supposed to now think like, you know, do I need this? Does this belong in here? Whatever. Do you feel like this should be like a regular thing that, okay, every January or whatever, let me go through? Or do you find that necessary for some people? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think it's definitely all about the person. Like I
Okay.
said, I try to make it when I go in to organize, I try to make it functional.
Yeah.
So you'll have a home for everything. We label things.
Right. That would be
So you
so
can
great.
keep it clean. So it's
Got it.
the
Okay.
maintenance is low, but some people it's just not in their makeup, or it's more effort to just even, you know, shred something as it comes, shred junk mail as it comes in.
Right.
So you could set up like every 3 months, I'm going to go through, you know, and make sure everything's in its right home. Or even yearly, but I do try to make it a point where it's functional.
Yeah. You know what?
So it's
That
easy to keep clean.
that made me think of, Ginger, the conversation we had about meditation. You know how people were saying like, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this, for meditation. But then once you do meditation, you get into it, you find that
Right.
you're working more efficiently. So you haven't lost that 20 minutes. Do you remember
Right.
we kind of talked about that? This reminds me, because this is one of the things that I do, not to an not excessively, but I might take something and like that I got in the mail and throw it on my desk. I'll do that later. I don't have
Yes,
time for it right now.
that's
Mhm.
me.
When if I took the time to do it, it would be more efficient in my office. And do you know what I'm saying? Like if I
Yes,
just took the time to do it here it
When it
is, I
comes
got it.
in.
Just like you
Yeah.
said about the shredding. I have
Mhm.
it here, I'm going to shred it, boom, it's done. As opposed to, I don't have time to shred it, I'm gonna put a pile of paper there, and now all of a sudden the pile of paper is a foot thick, and now I'm spending 45 minutes shredding something. And that is definitely a fault of mine, that it's like, I don't have time for that right now.
that's me.
Right. And I think a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, so they don't come in and pull out the little bin that says, you know, paper clips and put it, do you know what I mean? You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like, we don't do that. But if we were to just get the system, work the system, we'd actually end up being more efficient than if I'll get to that later.
Right.
Does that ring true to you guys?
It does to me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And even setting up in a way where it's not, you don't have to go out of your way to, you know, maybe you put your shredder in a closet downstairs right by the entrance door, you know, just trying
Yeah,
to set stuff up in a functional way where you don't feel like you're running upstairs, you
yes.
know, to go have to shred something quickly.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Like, because normally I'll go get the mail and I'll come in and I'll stop at our recycling bin. But my
Right,
shredder's not down there, but I'm ripping it in, you know,
right,
18 pieces and then whatever. But that's kind of brilliant. Keeping it
right,
downstairs. Like,
right. It's
Right.
just setting yourself up for success to maintain
exactly.
cleanliness
Exactly.
and
Isn't
a
it
tidy
interesting
home.
that we don't have, like she said like several things and I'm like, oh, brilliant, brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, and how come it's, you know, your mind is so focused on this kind of stuff and so good at this kind of stuff where I'm like, how come I couldn't think of that? You
I
know,
know.
like,
Well, right. A lot of it is very easy, you know, easy stuff too.
easy.
That like you're like, oh yeah, I could have thought of that. And
Yeah,
that's
I
why
couldn't
I
thought of
think
that.
when I started my business, I was like, it just comes so natural and it's just the way I think that I was like, I never saw it as a talent, you know, like I just thought everyone else must think this too, but
Oh
they just
no, it's
made,
a
you know,
talent.
they just don't work that way. I
I
don't
told
know.
her that it is a talent.
Oh, it is a
Believe
talent.
me.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's a talent. Well, I absolutely love, oops, sorry, I'm going all wonky there. I absolutely love this and want you to come down to North Carolina for me.
Yeah.
Sure. You know what? When the restrictions
It's not,
are
yeah,
gone, I'll
exactly.
come down. I'll go
Come on
anywhere.
down and do this. But again, I'm so excited because you can see me. I'm like looking around my office, like, oh,
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back
and you
go
know
there.
what? When you're in the mode to get rid of stuff too, I just say run with it. After we get off this call,
Exactly.
I hope you get the bag out.
I know, like I'm like, I literally had it on my calendar for yesterday, and then I was like, oh, we're talking to Kim, like to see if she, you know, like gives me
Yeah,
any pointers or whatever, because yeah, I just start to accumulate stuff. And it's funny because some people are like that. I have a friend who's very, it's very minimal in her house. Like there's not a lot of tchotchkes around, and I'm not a big tchotchke person, but I'm a medium tchotchke person.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? And you'll get this thing like, oh, my husband gave me that when we were dating, and like
I know.
and there's that guilt thing again. Can
Yeah.
I throw this away? But here's the thing: if I threw it away, would Rich ever notice that it was gone?
Or
Right.
would you? I guess that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
we said, every couple of years, if you're cleaning in a particular area and you say, oh, here's whatever. But if it wasn't there, I wouldn't remember it necessarily.
Exactly. Because my office was downstairs first. So half of my stuff is like still down there. And we cleaned it. I haven't been in that office down there for at least 5-6 years. And I was finding, oh, look at this cute little figurine. So what did it do? It ended up here in this office. It's been down there for 5 or 6 years and I haven't missed it.
Right.
But then you
Right.
say, oh, that's so cute.
You know what, too? When you keep like the most important sentimental things, they'll just be that more
That much more
sentimental and
important.
that more like important.
That's a great thing. So is there a something you could leave us with about okay, so I pick up this item. Do I ask myself something? Or do I just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I think once you get everything in categories, you can say, do I have too many? Like, do I have too many pens? How
yes,
many pens do I really need?
I do have too many.
Right.
Dang.
And then, just kind of slowly cut down. And I think with clothes and things like that maybe are more personal than say a pen, you say, first of all, a lot of times you have to try everything on before you're going to get rid of it. So you just take the time and know, okay, I'm going to have to try this on. Am I going to wear this? Does it fit me today?
Yes. Yeah.
And then do I even like it?
Right.
How do I feel in it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
it's kind of like the Marie Kondo, like, does it
Yeah.
spark?
What did she say? Does it spark
Joy, which
joy?
it really, it's true. Like for
Yeah.
personal things, does this really bring me joy? Like, what do I get out of this?
Yeah. Hey, and that's another way that you can all bring in your intuition if you're doing this. Like,
Right.
is this a good thing or is this a good energy thing or a bad energy thing? I have to share this story. This was like maybe last year or the year before. Ginger, you might have seen the picture. I think we were downstairs, my husband and I, just, watching a football game or something. And we heard this big boom. We walked upstairs and we have walk-in closets, but and we never did anything.
Oh, yes.
We bought the house like this, and it was that like, that like white, like wired,
Yeah.
like shelving, and then you hang stuff on. I walked into both sides, the entire thing was on the floor of my closet. Like you couldn't get in the closet, like the entire.
And you had clothes? Do you have clothes?
All my clothes.
Oh my God.
The entire thing. And it was to the point where it was so funny that like you couldn't even get to a shirt. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just
Right,
insane.
right.
And the stuff that was on top, shoes were underneath. So we literally had to, okay, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. I cleared my schedule for the next day because I couldn't leave it there. You couldn't even find a pair of shoes or get to it. You got to burrow under like stuff. So I just sat there for like a long time. I picked this up, like I haven't worn that in 10 years. It probably doesn't even fit. And I came up with like 10 bags of
Wow, that's awesome.
clothes and shoes for our women's shelter that, to donate or whatever. But I was forced to do it. And of course, then I got a brand new, closet system and everything, which is great because now in my closet, I'm extremely organized. This is where my shirts are. This is where my pants are. This is where my tank tops are. This is where my yoga stuff is. You know what I mean? It's very whatever. So that was an extreme case.
You know what's so funny? I have, as someone who loves order, I have like nightmares about that.
Yes.
I'm like, what if my shelves are gonna fall? Like,
right.
Do I have too much stuff?
And here's the thing: one fell once before years and years ago, but it was only just one, and it was like, oh, that's a pain in the butt. It was just like take all the shirts, put them on the bed. My husband fixed it, put them back. But this was just so huge that you could only laugh. about it.
Right,
Like, you didn't
right.
even, you
Well, I
couldn't,
think the key too is, I mean, you tell us, Kim, but if you're gonna be, because usually it's not in one room, right? If you're having an issue with clutter, for at least for me, it's in more than one room.
Right.
So you tackle one room at a time. Because what my downfall is, I get in that mode and I say, okay, then I go to my closet and I get some stuff out and it's on the bed and I got to figure out where to go. And then I go into the kitchen for a drink and I'm like, oh, I should do this. And then I do some,
yes.
then I'm like, oh my God, it's
Right. Then you
way too
overwhelm
much.
yourself.
Yes.
I'm like that like every day.
Yeah, me
You know what I
too. But
mean? I'm like, I got my coffee cup over here and I've got this over here. And then I was like, where the hell's my coffee? And then I'm like, why
Right.
did I come in here? And I'm like, like,
You get excited. It's pure
Yes.
excitement. You go into the other room, you're like in the mode, you're just ready to tackle it all.
there's like a black bag in every room of like, you know, throw, you know, and then it's like, you know, now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you're like, crap, I haven't gotten anything.
I'm still in my
One
jammies.
room at a time, right?
Yeah, I would definitely, especially if you get overwhelmed easy, really try to focus on one room at a time.
Yeah.
Even sometimes one area, you know, one corner of a room or
That
one
makes,
desk or, you know,
Yeah.
just
I
depending on
like
how
that.
much
That
time
makes
you
sense
have.
because like, okay, I'm looking at my, you know, I'm here we are on this call and I'm like, okay, let's go. I want to go do this. But I know I
Right.
have stuff that I have to do. So I have to say to myself, okay, you know, I have 2 desks. This is the desk I'm going to start with. And if I can get that done today, I will be happy. And then, do you know what I mean? So that's
Yes.
okay to just do,
Right.
as
Yep.
long as you don't leave the bag sitting there for 3 weeks. And
Exactly.
Never.
I know, you know, I had a friend that she was a business partner of mine for a couple of years, several years ago. And her husband had this system that they used to use when they were going to do this kind of thing. He would do it. There was a certain amount of time. I don't remember if it was 45 minutes or an hour, but he would literally set a timer. And when the timer was up, he was done. And she was less stressed out. She said, okay, I know for the next 45 minutes or whatever the time was, it wasn't a really long time. And they would get stuff done. It wasn't all at one time, but it got done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of actually, that reminds me of another little trick that I use specifically for people with young kids, but you could also use this even if you don't have kids is, you know, it's like you're baking or you're really into your work and you're kind of making a mess and you just say, you know what, we're going to let it go for now. And then at this time at lunchtime, you know, 12 to 12:30, I'm going to pick up this mess. So I know I'm not going to sit in it for the rest of the day. And I
Yes.
know it's going to get done. We kind of do when my kids are home all day, an afternoon cleanup at lunchtime and then before bed cleanup. So it kind of keeps you on task too and keeps you accountable for not destroying your house if you get caught up in whatever.
And I think that brought up something for me. It's just that I think we also have to understand that, especially with our partners, we're different types of people. Like Kim, you
Totally.
had said that you're in your husband's office right now, and it's not as organized as your office is.
Right.
You know, so again, I'm thinking about this weekend where it's like my husband was like, okay, we'll fix this and we'll get that. And then he keeps going, I'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm starting to feel like, oh God, because the office downstairs is a mess. And now the workout area is a mess. And now this area is a mess. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it feels like nothing's getting done.
Right.
And so I have to know that, okay, he uses the space more than I do because the office downstairs now has a lot of crap that was put in it when we were doing this other stuff. And he's like, I will get to it. So I have to let that go because I don't use that office space anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's his area. I just can shut the door when I walk by. So
exactly.
and I have to let that go because I
Right.
can be difficult about that because he can take longer. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. And it'll make me insane because
Right.
he's not getting to it.
Well, you know, so funny when I was talking about when we were downsizing our house, how my downstairs was so crazy. We had a joke in my house. If I would find something, let's find a piece of a broken toy or, you know, something small. And I would say to him, to my husband, do you know what this goes to? And he'd look, no, I don't really know. I'll just put it downstairs. And so it became a joke. We do it here now. We'll find something
Yes.
and I'll say, are you going to put it downstairs? But the funny thing is he's at his dad's house now. My father-in-law is going to be 94. and is having a little bit of health issues, and my husband's there with his brother trying to help him out. And he said to me the other day, "Oh my God, you should see my father's downstairs.
Oh no.
I found," and he starts telling me, "I found this bucket of screws that's this big, you know."
Yeah.
He just finds stuff and puts it downstairs. And I'm like, hello.
Oh my God.
You know.
And you know what? Again, this is like, I used to live in New Jersey, and my mom lived up there. I think she might have been, she lived down here, but she was visiting up there. And my husband had a workshop downstairs in our basement in New Jersey, and it was like a pigsty. And my mom, not a pigsty, but it was just like, everything was, oh, look, screws here, screws over here, screws over here. It was like, whatever. My mother and I actually one day said, let's do this. We totally organized this whole office space. Rich was pissed when he came home. Do you know what I mean? Because we invaded his space,
Right.
and we cleaned it to our standards and liking and organization. And he was like, dudes, off my land kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It was really, it was really interesting.
And going into other people's homes, that's what I really try to, be very sensitive to, that it's their belongings, and everyone likes things a different way. So I really try to like get a feel of how they use the space and their personality.
Yeah. Do you ever work with like husband, wife, or partners kind of like that in there? And
you know what? It's so funny. I mostly work with the women, and they all say what we're kind of saying is that, oh, it's just my husband's mess. Oh, my husband's like dumping this, or, sometimes I think, like most of the time, I think it probably, because men are maybe just more easygoing about that stuff.
Yes.
But sometimes, like, thank you. I think about into this mess as well. If it's like really bad, it's like, there's no way just one person could do this. Like,
yes. Yeah.
but
I take full responsibility for my office. This is me. This is not him. I'm, and it's not bad. It's not dirty really, but well, kind of.
Well,
You
mine's
can't
a
dust
mess,
because
but-
there's stuff on the shelves and, stuff like that.
So no, we talked, and this has been great, but we talked, Kim, about you going into other people's houses. Now that's been difficult during COVID, obviously, but that you now can offer a new service, which I think is really cool. And if you want to talk about that and how that has been going for you.
Yeah, like I said, I just finished kind of like a beta test. We did a contest, and I picked 3 winners on Instagram. And so I'm just getting through that. And I think I'm going to launch the services starting in February.
Good.
Kind of announcing it. And I do take the more approach of, instead of Zoom and just kind of going around the customers, I'd rather see pictures, maybe videos, and then ask the questions that I need to make sure I make the spaces personal for them and efficient for them, and offer solutions. I think having it down in writing and offering the writing down tips too is not so much information. You can kind of go back and look at it. You're not overwhelmed with, oh no, I gotta do this right now. You know what I mean? So
basically, if I were going to come to you, I would, let's say I'm going to organize my kitchen. So I take pictures or video of my kitchen, and then I send them to you, and then you help me by providing information on what I can do in my own space.
Right.
With either what I have or links to other products that might be helpful for me to organize in the way that I want to do.
Right. And I plan on offering, and I have been able to do this, is usually like 2 to 4 solutions too. So it's kind of, you decide what is best for you at different price points too. If we need to add product, I mean, sometimes I don't always want to add more products. It's just bringing more into the house.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the customer doesn't have any containers or anything to contain, whatever they're trying to organize, I'll offer different solutions at different price points that also match the style of their house too.
I think that's awesome.
I think that is
It's got to be visually pleasing as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to I don't want to give them a solution that doesn't match,
like
their
wicker
style.
baskets if they're all into chrome and black or
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
so
really
I know
good.
on your Instagram page and your Facebook page, I know you've been giving tips,
Mm-hmm.
products, pictures of how you've organized things, which is so helpful to do. So we're going to have all of Kim's information up on the Psychic Wives website on how to contact her, how to connect Facebook and Instagram as well. And look for those tips, follow her and look for the tips because if you're like me, and I just don't have it. I just don't have what it takes.
Yeah.
It's been really helpful and it's fun to see what you do in your own space too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing earth shattering, but I think a lot of people just get overwhelmed and just
Yes,
don't know what to do, you know,
for sure.
and they
for
just need
sure.
fresh ideas.
Yeah, I'm like following your Facebook page as soon as I get off of here. And waiting patiently for February, and maybe taking some pictures and like, because I keep saying it to me, and I said this before, January, for some reason, January, it's that, newness of the year. We
Right.
always end up rearranging our furniture in January. Like we always run into,
Yes.
like I need something fresh, I need a fresh
Mhm.
starter, I need something like this, and we end up going through our clothes and throwing things away and stuff like that. So I think this was a perfect time of year to have this
Yes.
discussion.
Yes.
And I love that you've been able to adapt your business
Mhm.
in with all the crazy stuff going on.
Right.
That makes me so happy when people are able to adapt that way and still be of complete and total service to the client by giving them options. And I love that you're giving them options, for crying out loud, like different price points and stuff
Yeah.
like that is amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah, I love it. I just have such a strong passion. And like I said, it's just that giving people that feeling that I feel when I get done organizing. It's like sometimes you just want to sit in that clean basement all day
know,
just to
right?
feel it, right?
And it's really funny because we have talked about the energetic piece a couple times, and I'm like already sort of feeling I'm so excited to do
Yes.
this.
Yep.
I'm so excited to do this, and I'm already feeling this little bit of relief. Not that I'm like not that I'm like, oh my God, I can't go into my office. It's not that bad, but like I said, it feels like it's encroaching on me a little bit.
Mhm.
And how many lip balms do I need in this little jar right here? How many
Right.
do I need in front of my office? Because there's 10. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Right.
you know what I mean? Like I'm already feeling this energetic kind of relief. Like,
Right.
oh, this is going to
Right.
be
Because
done.
it's coming.
It's coming.
Right.
And I'm going to walk into this space and be like, oh, look at this.
Yep.
Amazing. Amazing. So good.
It is. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. And
Thank you. I loved this. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was great for us, and it is timely and and helpful. So, any other thing that we want to cover before we hop off? No?
I think we covered it all. I just think it's like I said, that whole physical piece, energetic piece, just, and those efficient things. That's why I'm so excited.
Right. Keeping you efficient and
yeah. And those little ideas. That's why I'm kind of excited to work with you, because why didn't I think of that?
Right. A
Right.
lot of my ideas are simple too, which I like because anyone can do it. I just keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Right.
Yeah, and efficient. Love it.
So, Kim, if we were to do a Facebook Live, would you have an interest maybe in jumping on? Maybe if people had questions about their own space, like what would I like me just saying that about the business cards?
Yeah,
was great.
definitely.
Okay.
Yes. I would
That's
love
really
that.
cool. I think that would lend itself really well to a Facebook Live. We're trying to
I do too,
Facebook
particularly
Lives
this.
for everybody at least once a month,
Right.
so that we can give them as much as possible. And some of it lends itself to question answer.
Yep.
Like we're sitting here thinking, well, we don't have any more questions right now, but somebody else might be like, I've got a question.
Right.
Right.
Like, yeah, that would be
Right.
cool. That would be great. Awesome.
Well, thank you. This was awesome. And thank you to all of our listeners who I hope you gained as much as I do every time I talk to Kim. And
where have you been all my life?
So again, obviously you found us on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. Our website is thepsychicwives.com, at The Psychic Wives for Facebook. And we look forward to speaking to you again the next time. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.